Mridangaya namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, good morning. My morning. Today we're going to be working primarily in Pahira Taal, and we're going to be learning some new techniques here, getting a little bit more complicated, learning some new patterns, also some new hand patterns as well. So the first part of this mantra is, let me see here. So most of this mantra, it's all in Chatur Jati, in terms of Laya Jati, Bol Jati. Only the last part is 2 3s and a 2. Gena, tere, gena, tere, kena, tere, keta. Gena, tere, kena, tere, kena, 3, tere, keta. All the rest is in a usual structure. Although the first part is a little unusual and you don't see this too often, but quite a few of the mantras that we're going to be looking at, well, even today, both of them are using patterns that kind of almost break the Taal in terms of where you're seeing things. So you're playing things that kind of span across where the Taal is, and it's not as simple as, knowing exactly if 4 pieces here, 4 pieces here. It's kind of like going gena, tere, gena, tere, geta, tere, geta, but now we're looking at something that looks different. So this one is gena, tere, gena, getak, getak, gena, tere, gena. So you have these 2 getak, getak, and they're kind of in the middle of your 4 pieces. So you have gena, tere, gena, getak 1, and then again getak for the start of your second 4. Getak, gena, tere, gena. So it's very unusual. This took me quite a while to learn and get the hang of it, and to try to be able to sing and play and feel the proper kind of spacing in terms of the bol jati and getting it all spaced out nicely. So let's go through this slowly. So we already know most of the hits here. It's just learning a new pattern of bol jati. Gena, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, which we already know. Gena, tere, gena, ketak. Gena, tere, gena, ketak. Gena, tere, gena, ketak. And then getak, gena, tere, gena. But you have to play it all as one piece so it flows. Gena, tere, gena, getak, getak, gena, tere, gena, tere, gena. Gena, tere, gena, getak, getak, gena, tere, gena, tere, gena. You don't put a lot of emphasis on the first getak. This is tak, 4 fingers closed. Te, tere, tere, te, soft, tak, strong. Gena, tere, gena, getak, getak. So that second tak. Gena, tere, gena, getak, getak, gena, tere, gena, gena. So that's how you get the feel of this bol jati. Gena, tere, gena, getak, getak, gena, tere, gena. Gena, tere, gena, geta, gena, gena, tere, gena. Gena, tere, gena, geta, geta, gena, tere, gena. So let's go through it once more. Gena, tere, gena, geta, geta, gena, tere, gena. Gena, tere, gena, geta, geta, gena, tere, gena. So soft and then strong. Gena, tere, gena, geta, geta, gena, tere, gena. So let's just chant to that and get the hang of that. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gena, tere, gena, geta, geta, gena, tere, gena. Hare Krishna, kind of weird even when you're singing it because it has kind of a unusual feel and it's not really sitting so much on the beat as well, or at least it seems like it's not. But when you combine it with the rest of the mantra, it flows nicely. You can also do this. This is gonna have a guru and laghu, so it's got the whole mantra guru and laghu. But you can just start by practicing gena tere gena geta geta gena tere gena gena neta geta 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 gena neta gena gena neta So you can just practice the guru and the laghu. Gena tere gena geta geta gena tere gena gena neta and remember, try to stay at the top of the Mridanga rather than coming too far horizontal here. Parallel. Always try to keep your hand more up here. It makes it a lot easier. I'm doing a better job over the past year of playing at the top of the Mridanga, so I'm not doing more of this to get the thumb, because when you're coming like this, you're trying to get the thumb doesn't come down as easily, whereas if you're really at the top, it's really easy. So let's go through the guru and laghu of that once more. Gena tere gena geta geta gena tere gena gena neta geta 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 gena tere gena. Let's see what our mantra is here. These are easy for me to play and sing, but when I'm teaching them, I get a little confused about where exactly we are. Gena tere gena geta geta gena tere gena gena neta geta 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 gena neta gena. Yeah. So there's different ways you can look at this. You could look at this as gena tere gena geta getak, which would be a 5 bull jati, and then gena tere gena gena tere gena geta geta gena tere gena, or you can look at it as gena tere gena getak geta gena tere gena. I mean, I wouldn't say that really flows looking at it like that. So it's more likely, honestly, that I'm gonna phrase this as gena tere gena geta getak 5. Bull jati of 5, gena tere gena, bull jati of 3. Gena tere gena geta getak, gena tere gena, 5 and 3. So this is a 5 and 3 mix. Gena tage neta gena, tere gena tere gena. The next one is normal. Okay. So the next part is very challenging. Took me a lot of years to learn this, and it wasn't given to me properly and wasn't phrased properly. Really wasn't super useful in the I couldn't really get it, because if you don't phrase the bull jatis properly, then you kind of compress or slow down the taal in spots, and you're not really grasping the concept of what a bull jati is, how many pieces fit, and like every time that beat is right there, you can't miss it, you can't phrase something improperly, else it just doesn't work, especially at higher speeds. So the way this was given to me was incorrect in my opinion, and just not possible to play. So the correct phrasing of this now becomes gene. So this is actually kind of gena. We're learning this technique of going ge, thumb, ta. So this is very new and quite challenging, because you now have to, where you learned before this open hit, gena, ta, gena. So we've already learned this tiki taki tere keta, kene taki tere keta, teaches you one form, so just doing it once. But this can be used a lot in kirtan, especially in Tisra Jati. It's used a lot, but it's also going to be used in this particular case, and it's a really powerful and unique bowl and technique that people I mean, very few people, I would say, know how to play this. And, to be learning this already after 10 classes for you guys is super cool. And if you can follow the program and grasp this, it's just going to be taking your Mridanga playing to a whole different level. And it's going to be really enjoyable if you do get this technique. So I definitely encourage you to continue to work and try to get these, because they're not that hard if they're given to you properly and you understand kind of what's going on. So this is neta, kita taki, tere, keta. So we know this. Gena, tage, neta, gena, tage, neta, gena, tage, neta. So that's the first three. Gena, tage, neta. So you're practicing this thumb first to 4 fingers open. Gena, and it's kind of like in 3. Gena, tage, neta. Then you finish off to make your 4. So gena, tage, neta, gene gives you your laya jati in 2s. Gena, tage, neta, gene, chatur jati. Bol jati as well, we're still in a 4. Gena, tage, neta, gene, or gena, tage, neta, gene. So it's even. 4. Gena, tage, neta, gene. Gena, tage, neta, gene. Make sure you're staying at the top of the Mridanga. Just drop that from the wrist to the thumb, getting nice contact with thumb. Gena, tage, neta, gene. Gena, tage, neta, gene. Gena, tage, neta, gene. Gena, tage, neta, gene. Very cool technique. Gena, tage, neta, gene. Gena, tage, neta, gene. You can practice it like that too, just that piece, leaving the thumb there and then learning how to leave the thumb there and come through. There's other practices that we'll learn like that as well. Gena, tage, neta, gena, gena, tage, neta, gena, gena, tage, neta, gena. So that's really cool as well. Gena, tage, neta, gena, and then you just put tere, gena at the end. Tere, gena to give you a full part of your das Pahira Taal. Gena, tage, neta, gena, tere, gena. So this is cool too. Gena, tage, neta, gena. Now you're coming from thumb. These are all different techniques you've never played before. Gena, tage, neta, gena. Now thumb to te instead of tere. Now you're going backwards. Gena, tage, neta, gena, tere, gena. Gena, tage, neta, gena, tere, gena, tere, gena. Gena, tage, neta, gena, tere, gena. Gena, tage, neta, gena, tere, 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 gena, tere, gena. Very cool technique. I love playing these. So what do we have so far? So we have gena, tere, gena, geta, keta, gena, tere, gena, gena, tage, neta, gena, tere, gena, tere, gena. So let's practice that again. So gena, tere, gena, geta, geta, gena, tere, gena, gena, tage, neta, gena, tere, gena, tere, gena. So that's where we're at so far. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So that's how it can be used in the Guru and the Laghu, just that part. But there's more still. I'll write all these different versions out for you. Fix my Mridanga here. That spot. Next part. Gena, tere, tere, kena. So you can do these differently. Bablu teaches one way, Bhima teaches another, followed by Hare Krishna Halder. I like adopting this new version. So originally these mantras would go Gena, tere, tere, gena, and just keep it all in the Guru. But now we've adopted to gena, tere, tere, kena, so you get this K when you're still in your guru part, and when you're playing the Laghu, it would be kene, tere, tere, kena, all Ks. But here, for more, emphasis and power, you can change. And it's a harder technique because now you're having to go from guru and Laghu within the same mantra. But now you're going gena, tere, tere, kena, gena, tere, tere, kena, gena, tere, tere, kena, gena, tere, kena, gena, tere, kena, tere, kena. So this is the last part of the mantra. And this is used all over more advanced kirtan mantras as we progress. This pattern of 4 bol jatis, then 3 and 2. Gena, tere, kena, gena, tere, kena, tere, keta. So in this whole mantra, we've got chatur jati, laya jati everywhere. And then we've got 5 and 3 for your bol jatis. We've got 4s and 4s. And we've got 3s and 2s. So we're mixing a lot of different bol jatis just to make up one short mantra. So there's a lot going on here, plus a very advanced hand technique. But this hand technique is going to open up, a lot more for us later. Plus it practices getting a lot of control from your thumb, coming from thumb to te to here, and just really doing everything that you need to for your wrist here. And it's practicing this gena, tere, kena, which later becomes gerga. Gena, tere, kena. Now when you're playing gerga, you don't play the K, it becomes all guru again. Gena, tere, gena. So then it becomes gena, tere, gena. Here we're playing gena, tere, kena. But we're not playing gerga, which is a faster double speed. But practicing this, gena, tere, kena, gena, tere, kena, gena, tere, kena, gena, tere, kena. Practicing this pattern of gena, tere, gena, gena, tere, kena, tere, keta builds up the speed of going gena, tere, kena, gena, tere, kena. Or you can just practice on the guru, gena, tere, kena, gena, tere, kena, gena, tere, kena. So when you're playing like that, instead of gena, tere, kena, it now becomes gerga. Gerga, 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 gerga. You can mix and match. Gerga, 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 gerga. Lots of different things that you can do with it. So this gena, neta, gena becomes gerga. Gena, neta, gena, gerga, gerga. So the ger is gena, tere, and the ga is gena. Gena, tere, gena, gerga, 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 gerga. So let's work on that. Gerga, gerga, gerga. Gena, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, gerga, 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 gerga. Gerga, 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 gerga. Then K becomes care, care, ka, care, ka, care, ka, care, ka. Gerga, 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 So this gerga becomes very important. It's used all the time and everything. But this is just setting that up. So we're not saying that yet. this mantra is just using this pattern of gena, tere, kene, kene, tere, kene, tere, kene. So now there's still more to say about this mantra. So coming from gena, tere, kene is also very difficult. Gena, tere, kene, gena, tere, kene. Now you're going from this ta to tere, keta at the end. And I found this also very challenging when I was learning Mridanga. It was very hard for my hand to come around this way and then come on to the te. It was just like a total mess, and took a long time. Hands are cold. Took a long time to kind of get this. So take it slowly. Learning this pattern of coming from a gena, tere, gena to a tere, keta is also ultra important because we use it all the time. So gena, tere, kena, kena, tere, kena, tere, keta. So you really have to get onto that te and learn how to get your hand around onto it. And it's just using all the same things that I've been talking about, clearing out gena, tere, kena, gena, tere, kena, getting that. Let me see where we are. Yeah. So getting that full rotation on the te so you can come into the ta rather than having it closed and not enough room for your hand. So it's all just really about just twisting that wrist, over exaggerating. So when you're playing faster, you've got that momentum and open air to bring your hand into these spaces. So then, let's see where we're at here. So that's the whole mantra. So I'll say it again. Gena, tere, gena, getak, getak. Jati 5. Gena, tere, gena. Jati 3. Gena, tage, neta, gene. Jati of chatur. Tere, gena, tere, gena. Gena, tere, tere, kena. Gena, tere, tere, kena, that's normal. Then gena, tere, gena, tisra jati. Gena, tere, gena, tisra jati. Tere, keta, chatur. Or you can look at it as gena, tere, keta, which would be 5. There's so many different ways of looking at it. It's just about knowing how to look at it and understand it and phrase it in a way that's in tall and works for you. There's not so many hard and fast rules in Mridanga or in traditional Indian music to begin with. There's the solid framework and rules which I'm giving out in terms of the bol jatis, laya jatis, tal, dihas, decorations, different types of dihas, tukras, mukras, as Bhima taught me, so many different things. And that's kind of just like your structure that you work within. After that, what you put in there is really up to you. So there's just, there's no hard and fast rules about what the exact mantra should be. As long as the technique is there, you're following the traditional bowls, the tals, everything is there, then, the sky is kind of the limit in terms of how you mix and match where your different things go and how you overlay your bol jatis. That's really up to you. As you become more advanced, you can, do whatever you want, really. So let's play the whole thing through. Gena, tere, gena, geta, geta, gena, tere, gena, gena, tage, neta, gena, tere, gena, tere, gena, gena, tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, tere, keta. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that's the Guru and the Laghu. I'll write that out. I guess we should show the whole thing maybe. mantra played quickly. And yeah, very challenging, very exciting, and it just feels great to play. I mean, just having your wrist move like that and learning those techniques, it's really satisfying, just even as a sadhana. Okay, so this is just going to be the first part of a very challenging mantra. I don't want to give the second part yet because I want you to practice the gena, tere, gena, tere, keta, and practice this garga, because this is going to be used a lot in the next part and is even more challenging. But I'm going to switch to low for tall and give some more simpler stuff there as well so we can keep progressing. Gena, tere, gena. So we're using this tuck again. Gena, tere, gena. Gena, tere, gena, tuck. Gena, tere, gena, tuck, tere, kita, gena, tere, kita, gena, tere, gena, tuck, tere, tere, gena. These are, all mantras that Bablu has given. I've changed a lot about them, formatted them into tall, which they usually aren't, so that you can't use them. And as I said, the gena, tage, neta, gena is totally different from how it was taught to me, because that just wasn't phrased in a way that you can play it properly. So, credit is definitely deserved in terms of Bablu teaching me these, but as we see in most circumstances, people aren't able to use them. And you don't see that knowledge propagating across ISKCON, because it's not being, given in a way that is applicable necessarily. It's cool, and it's like, oh wow, I'm learning Mridanga, but when you really sit down and analyze it, it's like people don't get it in a structure that's useful. They don't learn how to sing with it. They don't learn how to sing Hare Krishna to it. And the bold jatis are not laid out properly and then tall. So there's a lot of impediments for people that aren't willing to spend, so much time kind of analyzing everything and trying to figure out, well, what does it mean and how are these actually meant to be used? So these are all Bablu mantras, but you might not recognize them because the wording is different and they've been shortened or extended to fit actual tall structures. So this one here is also kind of like what he's taught, but not really. Pardon me. But the first part, I can't even remember what he taught for the first part. I don't think the first part's in tall either. I had to change it a little bit. But it's still keeping the essence of what he's trying to teach in terms of the techniques and the hand practice. So this is another one that kind of blends the lines between where the demarcations of the tall are in Das Pahira. So here we're going gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, kita, gena, tere. And the tere and the keta span across the first section of the tall. Gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, kita, gena, tere. So that's your 4 and your 4, but we don't really have a full section. So we're blending the tere into the keta on the 9th mantra. Gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, kita, gena, tere, kita, gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, tere, gena. And he had more, I think, tere, gena at the end, which just confused things because it's not in tall and then you don't know what to do. And if you don't know what tall is, you try to play it and it doesn't fit, and then it's just frustrating, So there's no need for the extra. We've already, just know, once you learn how I'm teaching it, you know that you can remove a tere gena, add a tere gena, put this, put that, so that it fits into your tall structure. It's not important that you adhere to the exact so-called hatuti, which really doesn't help you learning kirtan per se, because it doesn't have any structure to it. So gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, kita, gena, tere, kita, gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, tere, gena. So you can sing Hare Krishna to this. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, also feels super cool playing this. I know it's probably super annoying watching my phone slip down every time, but whatever. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, so cool. I mean, these are so much more fun than playing. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Now there I started in a different part of the Taal, so I had to end on the breaking up of the keta, so you have to end on there. But you cancel it out so you get the right section. But these are just so much more fun than playing tage, teta, take, gena, and really lots of things. And they're cool little expositions you can put in if you want to just play double speed for Hare Rama. You can, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So you can use it like that. You can stop, play a regular speed tere keta at the end. You can play a little bit of it. I could write, a bunch of D highs for you guys if you wanted, where you use that for like where you're. Let me see. So you'd have your D high of that for like your 8 mantras, and then you'd have your 8 mantras of a longer, mid-sized D high, like but I would write that in double speed, and it would be something that is contained in the mantra itself, which would be so instead of tere keta ja, you could end up on gena tere gena tak could be tere keta, and it's just in double speed. So the tere becomes gena tere, or the keta becomes gena tak, and your ja is the same. So instead of going tere keta ja, tere keta ja, tere keta, you can go gena tere gena tak in double speed. Gena tak ja, gena tak ja, gena tak. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So learning these is just the first part of Mridanga. Learning the power of the structure of kirtan and the power of taking all the pieces of everything that you've learned and making them into D highs, or if you're playing gena tere gena tak, this mantra gena tere gena tak, how to use that, make it into a D high, so it's the same as like a kot tete gege tete kotaka. How to make it into different structures of D highs, how to make it into just a simple D high structure of 8 mantras at the end. Because people are playing Hare Hare Hare. That's nice, and it's in Taal, and it sounds great if you play it properly, but it's not really like next level. And if you want to excite yourself and excite Krishna and excite the crowd and the deities and everyone else, then you need a little something else. And that something else isn't necessarily just pounding the bottom of your Mridanga as hard as you can, and just kind of beating it into submission without much ras and without much bhakti behind it. Or should I say not bhakti, but at least knowledge of what's possible. And so then you can take these things instead of playing tere, keta, ja, tere, keta, ja, tere, keta, you do that, hare, hare. And it sounds super cool. And there's, millions of things like this that you can do. So let's go over this again. Like I said, this is just the very start of a long, complicated mantra here. Gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, keta, gena, tere, keta, gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, tere, gena. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Tak, tere, tere, gena. Make sure you hit those tucks. Gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, keta, gena, tere, keta, gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, keta, gena, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, tak. Make sure you're opening the hand back. Gena, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, tak. Gena, tere, gena, tak. And again, this mantra is not, the way it's using this is not given a guru in Laghu, but again, your job is to understand how to make those. So we're not able to give every option, every variable. You have to learn that, yes, playing traditional Mridanga does not mean only doing this rigid exact pattern that's given. It's really, there's two different, yes it is and yes it isn't. So rigid exact patterns of practice, rigid practice in general, sadhana bhakti is given to people that need that rigidity in order to maintain some level of interest in bhakti, in order to maintain some level of practice, oftentimes against their will when they don't even want to practice, but it gives them a framework to work within. That's what a good Mridanga teacher will give you, is a rudimentary, rigid practice, and that practice is meant to slowly bring out the the ras in that particular Mridanga player, so that they start understanding their style, what they like, what they don't like, and they start grasping the concepts that, hey, there isn't as much rigidity to this as I thought, and can I do this? Can I do that? And then the teacher will be like, well, you can't really do that because you're breaking this particular rule or principle. So if you're able to look at all these things and listen to the classes and understand that, yes, you can do this, yes, you can do that, no, you can't do this, then it helps you to come up to Rag Bhakti, at least in Mridanga, where you're able to offer something to the Sampradaya, offer something to Krishna that's your own, and look at these and be like, okay, well, I can do this with it, I can do that with it, I can use this. So you start with sadhana bhakti and Mridanga, but ultimately you're meant to come up to Rag Bhakti. And the fact that so many people don't even learn Mridanga in any proper fashion to begin with is kind of sad, because not only do they not have the sadhana behind them, but they're not able, most of them, to come to a higher platform of playing. And most people don't even realize that, and it's kind of sad, because people don't always know what they don't know, and they might not even be concerned about it until the mind is able to realize that they're being cheated and they're cheating themselves. And then that's a big realization where it's like, whoa, like, what am I actually doing here, So I'm just trying to humbly give this system in a way that is not, just purely sadhana bhakti. It's definitely mixed with an idea of you coming to a platform of being able to perform a little bit of, raganuga, a little bit of spontaneous bhakti with your Mridanga. So let's go through this once more. Gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, keta, gena, tere, keta, gena, tere, gena, tak, tere, tere, gena. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, So practice that. Yeah. All right, let's do. Pardon me. Let's do one Pahira Taal just for fun. What do I want to do? These ones are kind of harder for me. Like I've practiced those other ones for years, give or take the little changes. But a lot of these I'm just writing in because no one gives anything for Pahira Taal. So these patterns I can't play at blinding speed yet, just because they're not on my hands permanently yet, and I don't have so much time to practice. But they're getting there, and hopefully you guys obviously will become more proficient at this stuff than I am. What do I want to teach? I'm not going to teach that because that's a different thing. Anyways, let's just do this easy one for today. Then we'll move to more advanced ones next year. So this is just taking off what we've learned, same techniques, but just putting it into a little bit nicer package for Pahira Taal. So this is tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, keta. Tere, tere, keta, kene, tere, keta. Tere, tere, gena. Gena, tere, keta. So this is all bold jati overlays of 3 tisra, chatur, 2 in each, lai jati. Tere, tere, gena, 3. Gena, tere, gena, 3. Tere, tere, keta, 3. Gena, tere, keta. Tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, keta. Tere, tere, keta. Tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, tere, tere, gena, gena. Tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, So that's the Gu and the Laghu together. Tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, keta. Tere, tere, keta, gena, tere, keta. Make sure that's right. Tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, tere. Yeah, that's right. Gena, tere, keta. Tere, tere, gena. Tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, keta. So now we're going gena, tere, keta. So we're using this. We could go tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, gena, tere, tere, gena, gena, tere, keta. Different technique. You like that one? Play it. You like play that one. Both options are available. Both are legit. 2 different teachers have taught me either one. You can play, you know, you can play one in your while you're playing. Then mix and match as you're playing in your Taal. You could play 4. You know, you could play like a double repeat and then switch over. Whatever. Rag Bhakti. They're all legit. The bull jatis are legit. You're playing in Taal, and you're just using your own judgment in terms of what you think is appropriate at the time for the kirtan. If the singer is singing a little softer and you maybe want to take it down a little bit, maybe having more Ks is a little bit more appropriate. You want to be able to nuance the kirtan, hear what the singer is saying. If you want, you know, if it's getting heavier, maybe you're getting a little faster. Maybe, you know, move to maybe move to that one. Whichever. It's all about having variety rather than just playing the same thing at the same volume at the same speed all the time in kirtan. It's just not it's not being present, and it's not being in tune with things. As a drummer, if you're not in tune with your band, then everything falls apart, and you can't expect a kirtan or a singer or a crowd to engage in something when the person is not in tune with everyone involved, because it's congregational chanting. and everyone must be sensitive to everyone else in the kirtan, and when they aren't, then you can really sense it, and it just doesn't feel like very much fun. Tere tere gena gena tere keta tere tere gena gena tere keta tere tere gena gena tere keta tere tere gena gena tere keta. So there's that. Tere tere gena gena tere keta. So we'll practice this one because I'm giving. Tere tere gena gena tere keta tere tere gena gena tere keta tere tere gena gena tere keta tere tere gena gena tere keta. So slowly. Tere tere gena gena tere gena. Tere tere kena, kena tere kena. So we've got this up and down, and then this motion all combined in one mantra now, playing bold jatis of 3. You can also play this in Tisha Jati. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So that's in Das Pahira Taal, where you're playing in Laya jatis now of 3, but the bold jati is actually still chatur, which is confusing. But so this can be used for both of those, but in here we're flipping it back again, so the bold jati switches from between Das Pahira Taal, Laya jati Tisra, and bold jati chatur, switches for the same mantra to a bold jati of Tisra and a Laya jati of Chatur when you're going between Das Pahira Taal and Lofa Taal. The same mantra can be used, but the bold jati and the Laya jati switch places in terms of the 3 becomes 2 and the 2 becomes 3. So Lofa Taal again. Tere tere gena gena tere gena tere tere gena gena tere gena tere tere gena gena tere gena tere tere gena gena tere tere gena gena tere gena tere tere gena gena tere gena gena. So let's just get this pattern on the bottom now. Tere tere gena gena tere gena. So that's the first one that you emphasize. Tere tere gena gena tere gena tere tere gena gena tere gena. So it's the last kena in both sections. Those two. And again, don't have to emphasize like that. Time, place, circumstance, how you want to play. Just so many different things. So we'll leave it at that today, and we'll get back onto it at a later date. Hare Krishna.